Welcome to Roo Code Office Hours. My name is Hannes Rudolph, and I am the community manager at Roo Code. This is our, I think, 21st or something podcast. Thank you for joining us. I'm here with Matt, our lead developer, Dan, one of our engineers, Adam from Gosu Coder. He's a podcaster as well, and Tibbo from Requesty. They are a provider that you can use in Roo Code. Welcome, everybody.
Hello. Well, everyone's be quiet. I guess I'll be the one that jumps out.
Yeah, there we go.
Hello. This is like my favorite.
Welcome.
This is my favorite time of the week. Honestly, I look forward to this, even though sometimes Hannes has to remind me that it's coming up because I'm always like so heads down coding. But I enjoy just hanging out with you guys, chatting about all the stuff that's new, and looking forward to today.
We appreciate that you join us. Thibault, what's new with you this week in the world of being a provider?
Oh gosh, so many new things. We're working on a secret thing we should launch next week, and it's related with MCPs. So I'm excited about that. We're working hard on that. No new models, so some rest for us. So that's good. Although I saw GPT-5 Codex, which I haven't used yet.
Yeah, GPT-5 Codex. I'm excited to have that be released for API. It'd be nice to test it out in Roo. Seems very competent.
Do you believe the stats and how much better it is for? I've always been really interested in that. How much the task-specific training can improve the models? I saw some charts that look pretty up and to the right. I don't know if you all have any information on that, on how well it's actually working. I honestly haven't. I only played with it a little bit and couldn't really tell, but
I used it all day yesterday, and honestly, it's impossible to tell with how slow it was. And I know, Hannes, you always pick on me about talking about how slow it was, but it was ungodly slow yesterday. And they actually
half as fast as it was supposed to be, based on their
So now it's normal slow today. So we're gonna
normal slow today. No, 100%. I use it with priority to speed it up a little bit. It doubles the cost. So often I'll be running medium with priority, and so once it gets going, it's usually pretty quick. My experience is that it's the time to first token that really gets you. You're sitting there waiting, like, okay, what's going on? 10 seconds later, aha, it's alive. So I'm going to, just for the sake of this, we don't have any new models out, but I'm going to throw on here some some Flappy Bird generation. Okay, we are using today, I'll show you our configuration. We have OpenAI Direct, and we're using GPT-5, and with minimal reasoning, low verbosity output on surface tier priority. So let's give it a go. Any guesses? Is this going to finish it through? Okay, see, look at that. It's well, when you throw it into minimal and priority, you get instant.
There you go.
Doesn't think a lot. It doesn't think at all in this mode, right? So it's good when I use it often for workflows where I'm just need something very specific. I can say, reset this work tree. It doesn't need to do exploration, so it just gets it done quick. I used to do that with Flash, but Flash gets it done, and then sometimes it just takes my workflow and is creative with it. Oh, hey, speaking of Gemini, I got a new shirt today. You can't really see it. It says Gemini on there. Logan Kilpatrick sent it to me.
Ship repeat Gemini. Is that what that says? No, build ship repeat Gemini. Got it.
There we go. Something like that.
Love it.
So thank you very much, Gemini. And sorry that I threw Flash under the bus just there. I mean, I know you guys are going to come through with a model that kicks ass, but I'm not going to make things up. So keep up the good work.
I'm also a big fan of Gemini, so thank you as well, because they gave us a good amount of Gemini credits for our app that we have like out in the market. So very thankful for that. We use it quite extensively.
Oh yeah,
we got a lot of those waiting for when we figure out how to configure Vertex. I think that's the boss battle to gain access.
Well, actually,
me problem. Yeah,
use them with we're best to use them with the AI Studio.
That's what I use them through is AI Studio, and it works for my credits. But we actually use it through OpenRouter currently through AI Studio by bring your own key, so we have to pay a little bit of that. But
I
we
use it through
spend a lot of time in Vertex. Oh God, I finally figured out how to do monitoring and just have some sort of dashboards, and it was best with your own SQL queries. So that's just to tell you how great it is to work on GCP.
well, I would say
yeah.
I'll say that on the flip side of this, I love what Google's doing. I think they're going to be like a big player. They're probably going to win parts of this. Huge fan. But their billing part, someone needs to fix it because you cannot figure out what you're spending. I can't figure out what I'm spending and like where the token usage is or anything. It's literally like a black box for me. So it's
I love
I would
it. I figure
love
it out. I figure it out sometimes, Adam. I do. I get it
you
nailed
do.
down.
How?
I don't
How?
know because I forget by the time I need to use it again.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
Well,
I
when you
got it
figure it
figured.
out,
I'm like,
shoot me a
hey, I know
message.
where to go. This page, this button, this is what this means. And then I'm like a month later, I'm like, Matt's like, might ask something or somebody else I work with. And I go to do it and I'm like, I don't know. Every time I ask Matt for some change in our GCP setup, he goes, where do I go? And so I do a little discovery. And I think last time we did a lot of back and forth before we figured it out. So I'll give it to them. They've got some very powerful tools, but man, I don't know what the
Yeah,
solution is on
agreed.
the back end.
I just I always feel good when I hear other people having that pain point because like AWS, I can navigate like anything. I know how all billing works. It's really good. GCP, you're right. I'll figure it out sometimes, but getting back there, I never can. My co-founder, I told him, I'm like, I can't even figure out what the pricing is. He went in there, he's like, I can't figure it out either. So we messaged Google to see if they could help us figure out what the pricing, the billing was.
I feel like whole industry, Tibbo's just like collecting cash here from figuring out how to set up all these different things. I think we could build a
Crazy.
Teams plan. The whole value prop of the Teams plan is one person in your org figures out how to set this stuff up.
Yeah.
We
And then you
we
get
have many
estimate person.
customers just for that. We have many
Yeah.
customers that just run on Vertex that are like, I don't understand the billing. I'll do true Requesty because I don't understand anything what's going on there.
honestly, that's
Even
a
though it's
really
their
good
own
value of
keys.
that's a really good value of Requesty. If you guys could just simplify billing, like that would be like, oh, I would love that. I would pay for that.
Okay, we love Google. Google's great.
Oh yeah, I do too.
What's going to happen is one time they're going to listen. Someone from there is going to listen to this podcast, and we're going to be toast. We're just going to be like, "How they didn't respond to our emails." Okay, so I wanted to. No, I said install over here. Why didn't it install? You install. If you can see my screen, I'm having an argument. Okay, there. This is what we were after. You figure it out, Roo. Okay, I told Roo to do the install. Roo noticed there was an error. I have a special instruction where I tell it not to install or run these commands unless I've explicitly requested it because in my regular workflow, I get sort of frustrated when it keeps doing these things. Yeah. So, okay, it's doing something. How's it going to look? I don't know what's going on there. Okay, it's installed. We got it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm afraid about the NPM installs after all the vulnerability reports we've seen over the past weeks. And I have a good question for the whole crowd. Is like, do you think everyone's just going to use AI to rebuild all of the packages themselves so you never have to install things because it's easier than ever?
I had
Well,
a
I'm running in a container here, so that is
but I would say
my
like Thibault,
faith.
I had that same conversation with my team on stand up this morning because I've been thinking about this for the last like 2 days, and my analysis of it is like we as engineers always have this idea that we want to abstract more and more and more and more. I remember the transition from like Angular JS to Angular 2. It introduced like a millions of lines of dependency, and I remember that just feeling wrong to me because I didn't know what's happening in those million lines. And people were like, "You just got to trust it; it's going to be okay." I think we're going to see a going back to the normal, going back to the previous, where things are simpler, less dependencies, and we just use AI to write the services that we need rather than bringing in all these packages. That's my theory. It's probably going to take a decade for that to happen, but I honestly think it's going to result in better software long term because we don't need to install it. That's my. I don't know if you guys disagree, but that's where my head's at currently.
No, I guess there's a lot of extra stuff in every dependency, right? You want it be able to do X, and you've got to install that dependency that does the entire alphabet. So,
And how many of you have forked packages to make a change because there's a bug in it and I've done that countless times in my career. So now I'm managing that thing, trying to keep it up to date. It's like just put it in my software, like put it in my code base.
yeah, at
Fine.
that point, just extract the logic you need and just
Yep.
yeah, make it part of your own. Okay, so Flappy Bird's report over here. I mean, guys, ChatGPT is dope. Like ChatGPT minimum there, that nailed it. I mean, it got it. Is it the best? No, but like, look, we got textured background.
Is that a cloud? The
It's a
artistic
triangular
cloud back there. Yeah.
like a modern
In all
day cloud.
In all seriousness, though, this is way better than what I've got when I've tested Mini on prompts like this. This looks really good.
And
So
you know,
is this
I did run it.
mini?
Go ahead.
Is this mini or minimum? I always get confused on
Minimum,
that.
minimum, regular GPT-5
Oh,
minimum.
that is what I misunderstood. I thought you said Mini, so thank you for calling that out, Matt.
No, when I use Mini on minimal thinking, it doesn't do this. But then when I use it on thinking, it's I don't want to wait that long for something that's, you know,
Simple.
good but not the best. So
Mhm.
I'll wait if it's like Opus or GPT-5 level. But
I love these animations, like in these like selectors here. I don't know if I've ever seen. I haven't seen
Mhm.
all the ones you've ran, but I don't think I've ever seen something like that in one of the ones you've ran, where you've got like a
I've
nice
seen it a few
animated.
times. I think
Have you?
the first time we saw it was on a stealth model, which turned out to be I think GPT-5 Mini.
Ah,
So here I'm going to show off. Since last week, we've had a few announcements. I did go over our a bit of our cloud stuff. I gave a bit of a preview of it last week, and this week we have officially we did the release right after this, and we've added our our Roo Code Cloud Pro plan. So for you that have not seen it, I'm going to do a quick connect here. You just hit the cloud in the top right of your Roo Code plugin. You can say, "Okay, I want to get started." Boom, it'll open up and do something. It's going to do
So
something.
Dan, might
yeah,
be bad timing.
No,
yeah,
no,
bad
it's there.
timing because it seems like Clerk is down. It's not working for me, so um,
I'm
I'm
in.
not able to log in. But oh, there you go.
Boom.
There you go.
Must be just me
Oh,
then. Oh, maybe.
Oh, off.
click this
So,
one.
so much fun. Off problem.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways,
I'm not
it
seeing
worked.
that, but yeah.
I'm cutting this out of the podcast. No. Oof, that didn't go over so well.
Do it live. Do it
I
live.
mean, to be fair, it's not our fault entirely, but yeah.
Well, we'll work on making Roo Code Cloud more resilient and robust as we go forward. So, anyways, yeah, they're back to the review notes or the release notes. Sorry, I'm a little off today. Open. Let's just no. Okay. Release notes. I'm gonna zoom in a bit. So, with this release, we have task sync and remote control. You can sign up for Roo Code Cloud and for complete, 100% free, you can see your tasks as they go down, what goes on with them. This is not, I want to be clear, this is not a shift towards Roo Code, the plugin being a paid product. These services rest on top of what the plugin can do. They actually don't add any, they don't make Roo Code code better. So anyways, once you're set up, you can view your tasks, you can interact with your tasks, you can see your usage history, and share tasks and so on. Please take a look. We have a 14-day free trial. Next, we've got a bunch of quality of life improvements. Click to edit chat messages. This is something that I have definitely been harassing Matt about for a while. Let me give you guys a bit of a preview. Come on, I can get up there somewhere here. Boom. I could say, tell me a joke. And it will. I can go right back to that checkpoint. Boom. We're on our way. Now we have a joke. Why did the developer go broke? Because they used up all their cache. Okay, every time, I think there's like 7 jokes that these models will tell you.
It's about to
They're
say
all
the
trained
same
on the same joke book.
thing.
So we have an enhanced reasoning display. By default, we now expand the reasoning. We're looking at making that possibly toggleable, but we found that with models like GPT-5, the reasoning is quite useful to help understand what's going on in your workflow. If you pay attention to that, if you just want to press start and come back when it's done, great. If you want to pay attention to the workflow, looking at the reasoning can actually give you a hint as to what needs to change. Yesterday, for example, I had a workflow that works on release notes. And what it did is it's supposed to create a subtask for each pull request in our release. And I looked in the reasoning and it said something along the lines of like, I know it says this, but here is a more efficient way. It suggests to do this, but here's a more efficient way. So I went and modified my workflow so that it was no longer suggesting to make a subtask. And I would encourage anyone who's looking to build and rebuild their workflows to be most effective for the SOTA models that are coming out, every week, it seems. Look at these types of things. Pay close attention to them. It will make a big difference. Adam, any thoughts on, have you ever had any reasoning realizations?
Reasoning realizations. That's a great
Realizations.
question. Realizations. I mean, I think that's a good question because I've actually gone back and forth on liking or not liking reasoning models with coding, to be totally honest with you. And I find that sometimes the reasoning is actually more harmful than it is helpful. So I think as we get more of these models, at least being able to kind of see and like what you've got going on here, like is a step in the right direction, so that we can kind of see if it's going off the rails or not. But my general sentiment is I like reasoning when I'm thinking about system design, when I'm thinking about like, hey, I want to put this new feature in. These are the things that I think we could do. Like, talk me through all of that stuff. But I don't like reasoning when it's just going to write code. When it's
Well,
going
I've
to
had that
execute the
problem
thing.
too. Before GPT-5, I found the reasoning blocks. Well, my initial experience with them was that they often contained nonsense,
Right.
and they would lead to my workflow going left and right when I didn't want it to. And I mean, it did go left yesterday when I wanted it to go straight. But the hint was in there, and I adjusted my workflow and ran it perfectly
Yep.
after that. So I think my workflow, ultimately, workflows are often largely vibe coded, and then you go through and you review it. And sometimes you don't realize you can contradict or maybe not assert yourself in the direction, it's not assertive enough in the direction you want that workflow to go. It's too suggestive. And so I'm not for saying, do this or else, you're going to explode, that kind of instruction. That's absurd. But saying what you want, I think, is sometimes harder than it seems in these workflows. So I'm half with you on the reasoning, but I'm being dragged out of it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I like that. I mean, I change my mind every single day. If something else comes out and like I learn something new. What I would say is that one of the things that I use and why I like using reasoning for some things is I'm also okay throwing away code. Like over my career, when I first started coding, throwing away code was like the most personal attack on me possible. Like, it hurt to my soul because like I would spend a month working on this awesome thing, and then we'd find out it didn't work. Whatever, people didn't use it, got
Oh
deprecated,
yeah.
hurt. Today, I will send out things in AI, see what it does. Oh, that's kind of cool. I learned a little bit. I'm going to change the way I
See you
prompt
later.
things, throw it away. It shouldn't affect anyone personally now. So I think using reasoning to do stuff like that, like just give deep analysis of how it could attack the problem, learn how to actually build the prompt, and then send it off. I think it's very valuable. Anyway,
Thibault,
kind of off
you
topic.
must have an opinion on this. I mean, um, I mean, you come across all the
Yeah,
models. You hear everything from
the,
all the
the,
customers too.
the interesting parts of our business is that there's not only coding assistants, there's everything. Like people use AI
True.
to make music, to make novels, so we see literally every possible use case pass through. And a lot of people use it in different ways. I have seen people use it for better tool use. So when there's a list of like 20 different tools that the AI can choose from, the reasoning helps with benchmarking on choosing the right tool. So that's an important one that we've seen. So being able to actually read the reasoning is extremely important.
Very, yeah.
So that's part of our job to support that and making sure that you as a developer or as a developer or as whoever has access to those reasoning logs because they can get really valuable information in how the model acts and reacts. So overall, I really like it, but how do you make it
Do you
substantial decision
personally
based
use
on
it when you're coding, or do you lean to the side of? I mean, I know with Opus until I don't know what's going on with it lately. Until recently, I wouldn't use reasoning, but I've started using a small amount of reasoning. I found Opus to work better today with that.
I personally use reasoning when I'm combining multiple parts of the code together. So a simple flow of you have a backend of verification and some sort of workflow on your front end that needs to communicate to it, but it needs to
Yeah.
wait until it gets to the backend. But you rather want the AI model to think a bit longer on this to do the next step before making sure everything works because it's such a critical flow. So for simple quick fixes, I would never use reasoning because it's too slow. But for
Yes.
something I haven't thought through myself, I would use reasoning.
That's a good way to
Interesting.
put it.
Hey, Dan, I'm going to shift the channels once again. Dan, you made an update this week to preserve first message. Can you tell us what was going on with condensing and what you did to fix it and how it's going to improve for people?
So we were saying for a while now that condensing would preserve the first message and the last three. I heard you say that a couple times, and I always assumed that was the case until I was seeing some weird behavior with some of my workflows. Some of my workflows have really like strict instructions about the output,
Okay.
how it should look, and I saw that it was just after condensing, it was just forgetting how to properly format, comments, reviews. And so I looked into it, and it turns out the first message was being replaced with something else when condensing, something along the lines of, please continue with this summary, or something like that. So yeah, the change was to, not replace the first message, because I would say the first message includes, that's why providers, for example, do middle out transformations when you reach the context window limit to
Because the first
preserve,
message contains your directive
yeah,
of that
it's
session.
it's the main instructions, yeah. Especially if you're using something like a slash command, you have very specific instructions there that you don't want to lose. So
what impact is this going to have on the average user of Roo Code that does use condensing either manually or automatically?
so I could talk about the impact that condensing was having when it was behaving like that. It was definitely taking the summary as the main instruction. So if, for example, if you tell it to do something, then a summary is generated, the condensing of the conversation, and the model will read that as the main instruction. So it might take a different path after condensing. Um, so now it can see the first message, the first instructions that you give it, and then the summary of where it is right now. And so it shouldn't drift away from that objective, that first objective that you gave it. Or if you have a workflow with specific instructions, it shouldn't forget those instructions. So I've for what I've seen, condensing now is behaving much better. I've seen some models, like smaller models, get a little bit confused and think that, oh, because it condensed it basically it hasn't done anything yet, so it starts like doing the same thing over again. But for the models I used, it seems like it's keeping track much better than before of what the task is and all the instructions.
So I just
We
ran a
might,
condensing to show this.
yep, we might
What were you saying?
just tweak the prompt so it, the smaller models don't get confused and they know that
Mhm.
we're not starting over. We're just summarizing what we did.
Yeah. So when I tweak the default prompt, which by the way, for condensing, where is it? It is under prompts. You can go condensing. So you can look here. There is the prompt used to condense. In this case, I think, oh, there we go. There's the default one. And this is used to condense. It takes all of your context, dumps it in there, says, okay, condense it. And here's how I want you to do the output. Here we have an output. It did all our, it gave a summary of what was going on. And then I asked here, it dropped our context in half because we only had 31,000 in this case. And then I said, what was my very first message? And poof, Roo was able to tell me that. So yes, condensing is now working as expected. This is a quality of life improvement / bug fix. I don't know. A bit of both because it was working as intended based on how the person who made it, one of our interns, I believe, or made it. I don't recall. It isn't working how they intended, and I was clearly mistaken on that first message being included. So sorry about that, but I guess an unexpected improvement. It's buried down here in the notes, but it will have a big impact on you who use condensing. It's an unsexy improvement. Go ahead.
It would be really interesting to keep the user feedback, what the actual user has typed to the UI, and keep the exact feedback as like unsummarized. Because sometimes there's really good hints, like, only use this package or only use this library, and that might get lost. And usually that's not that much tokens, just a user feedback part.
Yeah. No, that's something to think about. So you're saying compress it, but then also keep it clear that here were all the user messages. Everything else was summarized, but use this lightly for context. Yada yada yada. But don't respond to any of these user messages as though they were being sent now. Okay.
It's an interesting idea.
Checkpoint initialization notification. We have had issues where your checkpoints won't initialize if you have a nested GitHub repository in there. So we now have a persistent notification in the bottom right to let you know, hey, you need to fix that if you want checkpoints to work. Smaller and more subtle auto approve. This one I am really liking. One of the criticisms about Roo Code has been how it is really difficult to get used to when you first start with it. We've got buttons and checkboxes and notifications and all these things. So we're trying to minimize the UI static without reducing the overall usefulness of the features we've added. In this case, we moved auto approve used to be in a little bar right here. You could click it and see all this stuff. Now it's in a menu at the bottom. You can toggle it all off. You can click them on or off. You can check out what they do by checking out the tooltip. I'm really, really liking this one. So thank you, Bruno. He's the guy on our team who did that. Okay, what else do we have in here? / commands management. On that same note, we moved our / commands. Instead of having a button down at the bottom, we wanted to clean up this bottom bar. So we've made it. So you go in here and you hit your / commands and you can see the various ones you have. You can edit them. No problem. Okay. Keyboard shortcuts, add to context. Let's see how that works. Am I running nightly? No, I'm not running nightly. Boom. Command Y on my Mac. She's in. So if you are less of a vibe coder and more of a pair programmer, you can easily select what you want, hit Command Y, and then say, hey, Roo, blah, blah, blah. Tell it to, fix this. That shortcut is a power user thing. We ran across one of our main developers, our longest standing ones, Chris, said, oh man, it would be nice to have this. So we fed it to Roo and Roo made it for us. So thank you,
Yeah,
Roo and
although
Chris.
it it was like maybe one of the most hotly debated pull requests. Because we were really concerned, honestly, about how's this going to interact with. I think Klein has something similar. I'm not sure of Kilocode. Alex, I see you in the comments there. Maybe you could tell us. But I feel like this is the actual new like agent.md thing. It's like, how are we dealing with all these keyboard shortcuts and like which extension, if you have multiple, is actually going to take control of it? And I'm like honestly really concerned about that. Like I wouldn't want to come in and grab someone else's keyboard shortcut, but also a lot of us share code back and forth, and it's kind of
Mhm.
unclear to me, like how many letters are there in the alphabet for for all these different things. So I don't know. Maybe we all need to huddle on what the protocols are and how to actually support this keyboard functionality. And maybe there's things about VS Code I just don't understand that make it easier to I don't know, specify per extension like this only goes to the active one or something. But anyways, I don't want this to turn into like the platform wars of last yesteryear. We're all trying to grab like every keyboard shortcut possible and send it to our own extension. That just seems very hostile towards the users. So I don't know if
Yeah.
anyone else is concerned about that, like I am, but it just feels like things could get annoying pretty quickly.
Well, we are having this morning I spoke with Bruno, and some people don't like the 2 clicks to disable. So we're looking at putting a keyboard shortcut for that. But I guess the question will be, what keyboard shortcut? So
How many special keys do you need to hold down at the same time? The Control
yeah,
Alt Shift function,
option
something.
F6.
Yeah, I don't know.
We got it. Okay. On the release notes front, there's a bunch of bug fixes. I'm not going to go through each of these one at a time, but just so you guys know, we do a lot. Some people go, hey, fix more bugs, implement more, implement less features. We by no means just work on features. We work aggressively on bugs. When we get a report, when we can find it, we fix it as soon as we can. We take your feedback very seriously. So, yeah. And as well, I guess here's one hidden in there. ZAI coding plans. This is something that's coming down the pipeline for people that want to use subscriptions, I guess, for their GLM model. So I'm not sure how well that works yet because it's not released, but something to keep your eye out for if you're looking for budget models. So, anyways, let's move on to some more Flappy Birds topics. What
Real quick
mo-
before you do that, good
Go
fix
ahead.
on the
Yes.
Olama Max window side, by the way. That's a good find. You and I chatted about that a little bit offline. I saw that in the bug fix there as you were kind of scrolling through.
Yes.
For local LLM people, that's actually one that I've never hit because of the way I load my model in and do it, but it makes total sense why that would have happened. So it's a good find across the board.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for your help with that. Because yeah, I saw people they were getting frustrated with that, and I thought, okay, well, I don't get it. Why isn't Gosu having this issue? So I contacted you, and when you told me that, I went, okay, let's make this happen. And so we got the fix in relatively quick. It took a bit of review to make sure we weren't breaking anything else. We really wanted to make sure when we're doing bug fixes, we don't just go, oh, that was obvious, and then break something. So yeah,
Yep.
took a few days to get in. Okay. Oh, has anybody heard the rumors? What's Logan Kilpatrick saying about? He was saying something about Gemini, something that seemed to hint we were going to see another Gemini model soon. Anybody heard anything about this?
No.
Oh well, then it's probably not happening. Damn it!
Mhm.
I want Gemini
Hopefully,
3.
hopefully it's a coding specific model, right? Like
Yes.
a Gemini coder, something like that.
That is what Dan, like I would be so happy for that. Could you imagine having a focused Gemini coding model that's trained for tool calling? That'd be incredible.
100%. Okay. Mode writer. I am going to show you guys. This is something we've discussed before, but I haven't really done a live, much of a live presentation on it. I did something a while back. We didn't have it in our marketplace. So, right in here, you can click the marketplace. It's right up here. you go to, oh, here, I'm going to show the whole screen. All right, back there. Ta-da. And Mode Writer. You can install this. Let's install it in our project. Now, using this, it has added various files to our Roo folder. Let's take a look. Mode creation workflow, XML structuring, etc., etc. Now we're going to switch over to Mode Writer. What kind of mode should we create? I'm going to use GPT-5 Medium.
So I haven't. So one of the issues that I have with GPT-5 right now is that it's not conversational enough when I'm doing like system design.
Mhm.
So I do have a mode for this in my own Roo code configuration, so I can do it. But it would be interesting if we could create a mode that basically helps you build a plan, kind of talk through options, and then doesn't start coding until you tell it to. I don't know if you guys agree with that being a fun one to try to make, but it'd be fun to see what this comes up with, in my opinion.
Explores code base and talks through a plan with me.
I want it to like tell me options. So I wanted to say like, here's one option, here's two options, here's three options. And then like you can then go into the plan. I don't know if that makes sense, but
And not create a markdown file.
correct. Yeah. So basically like talk to me about what are the things that it sees is likely, and then we can kind of move forward with it. I've been trying to tune this for GPT-5 quite a bit. I still have not got there. Great.
Well, let's see. And never
How do you
create.
know, Adam, if it's great? Like, how do you compare it? Do you compare it to another model, or how would you, or is just
Great
like a
question.
hunch?
So for me, it's like the feeling you get. Like I always try to call it like the peer programmer. You know, when you're sitting beside someone, you know, I used to have memories of sitting beside someone working on some of the most challenging things possible. And we'd be like, well, this is one option. Well, that won't work because of this. What about this option? When you get that kind of feeling from the AI that it's actually considering more than one thing, most AI will jump to just a single decision. And you're betting on the fact that it makes a good first decision. So if you can get it to say like, here are 3-4 options and kind of talk through it and be like, well, I don't like number one, but I like this from number two and this from number three. And you just make it feel like you're talking to someone rather than it just telling you what the answer is. That to me is what feels great.
Yeah. By the way, I selected Mode Writer GPT-5. This is one I've tuned to work with GPT-5 instead of Opus models. I will get it published on the marketplace, hopefully a little later this week. Okay. All I did is I basically used the GPT-5 coding cookbook or guidelines to tweak this mode. That might help you if you're trying to make modes for GPT-5.
Yeah, I would love to play around with that actually. I'm super curious what this is going to come up with.
Oh, by the way, it's on GPT-5 high reasoning, so it's
Hi.
probably just going to spin for a while, doing all sorts of stuff. It's looking around, it's doing stuff.
I mean, we can call out here too. I really like the way that thinking looks that you guys have in there now. I think that looks really great.
We are going to fix. See this?
Yeah.
We have a release coming out that will move that to its own line. So it's broken up. Wow, that's quite a thinking
That's
block.
a block of text.
I mean, we are sitting on reasoning high effort with output verbosity medium. Excuse me.
Are you getting sick? Sounds like you might be going.
I think
Sorry,
one of our
man.
team members gave it to me through the microphone. Yeah,
Dang it.
that's what happens. I get sick through Zoom. It's a thing, you know.
Dang it.
This prompt would have been good with the Roomote, you know. Let it run through Roomote on the background.
True.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's actually something that I use our issue writer for. I'll be sitting on the couch and think, oh man, this would be cool. Instead of writing it in Asana, I dump it into remote control and create an issue for it. And then later
I know you
probably
guys are.
delete that issue.
I know
because
you're probably
moved
going
too
to
bad.
hate me for asking this question, but is there a possibility that one day that we could actually, in a single extension sidebar for Roo Code, that we could actually run multiple tasks at the same time? Like one doing some thinking, trying to isolate through the code base, another one actually maybe working on a bug somewhere? Or am I my wishful thinking?
I think part of the problem with that has been coming up with a way to accurately manage these without them stepping on each other's toes.
Hmm.
Because in theory, it's great. I want to launch off a bunch of agents. I suppose it would be easy to run two on the same repo, the same work tree, if they didn't have one of them was just like a thinking, ask mode, and one of them was an action mode like code or something like that. So it's not off our radar. But Matt, what are your thoughts on that?
And it makes a lot of sense. I think I there's a lot of times I wonder if every new task should be in its own work tree, for instance, whether there would be any downside to that. I think we could potentially do that. But then on the other hand, I think there are more shared resources than just the Git workspace. If you're doing anything with like a local database or migrations or trying to run a server or something. So I guess I'm just not. It just seems like you might have the illusion of being able to run multiple things locally, but in practice, you would need to be thoughtful about it. That's not a reason we shouldn't do it. But I don't know. So yeah, I guess I'm intrigued by it. Um, I've been using the cloud more for things, so it's kind of made it so it's not like a hair on fire thing for me. But I could see how doing it more locally as well, and maybe you imagine a world where local and the cloud were a little more analogous to each other, where you could just kick things off in either direction, and they run in parallel. Makes sense. So
One
yeah,
of the
Adam, I don't know
reasons,
if you have a response. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I totally see every side of that, and I know I'm not going to pretend that this is like an easy thing. I understand the complexity of this,
Oh
like
yeah.
very, very deeply. But I will say one of the things that keeps me from just using like a single tool is a lot of them have that same limitation, other than the CLI tools. So if you were to go look at, I think I have probably 5 IDEs open right now. In each of them, I probably have 3 or 4 agents that I'm actively bouncing between in that particular repo, because I do a lot of systems thinking. So I'm thinking like, okay, tell me how this is working in the code base. Like, so that doesn't
Yeah.
even do anything but read the file. So I like having that going, and I like being able to reference that. And then I also like, if there's a little bug in a single isolated pocket, I love being able to just go work on that, and then I can
Mhm.
put that into a little branch by itself. So I'm constantly working in other areas, and I'm the one keeping the context separate. I'm making sure they aren't stepping on each other. So I'm using like different tools. So anyway, I just share that because like I might just be an anomaly, and I'm like one of the only people that work that way. But I I
I do the
really
same.
really do. You do the same.
Just a rebase fun afterwards, but it does help a lot.
Mhm. Dan,
Even too being able to explore. Anyway, yeah, Dan.
you want to tell us about your thoughts on rebasing, cleaning that up?
Mm, oh yeah, it's a pain. It's
It
a
is a big.
pain enough to. I made a mode that basically solves that for me. Um, I would say that having multiple tasks running on root, like in a single workspace, in my case, would be a bit destructive if I'm switching branches too much. Um, one task will try to switch to one branch and then the other one to another, maybe because of the nature of the work I do. Um, but yeah, I feel like having multiple like tabs running at the same time might be useful if you have like you know if you want to review something, ask a question about something and then fix something else in the same workspace. mm, but it's definitely a challenge, especially
Yeah.
because Roo was Roo's design is around a single workspace and a single task at a time. Uh, even even to the point that we're trying to get Orchestrator to feel not like one task is replacing another and running and then coming back, but actually something that is happening in the background, or you can see the parent task. We've taken a look at that for a long time now, so it's
Yeah, I mean,
definitely a challenge.
if I can jump in for a second, I think there is also a piece of it, which is like Roo is running in an editor sidebar right now. So you have like 400 pixels to like try to convey all this stuff. And I think by playing around with cloud agents and things, like at least for me, you get to the point really quickly where it's just hard to keep up with all the different things I'm asking it. So that's honestly like I think I have the same pain that a lot of you have, but I've just been embracing thinking about the cloud as a path forward for this. It just seems like the part of your window that's used for the code is just not that useful for a lot of the stuff we're talking about, and that there probably is a fundamentally different way to track all these different ideas and the status of them. So yeah, I've been really passionate about that, but I've been, I guess, thinking outside the sidebar a little bit on it.
Yeah, I like it. Sorry to derail what you're doing over here, Hannes. It looks like you actually have a nice mode that we're running, or did.
So at this point in making the mode, what I would do is I would see, okay, I didn't like how it responded. And I would go and I would use Mode Writer and I would get it to work on that. I would point it at the Roomotes file and ask it to, do this or that. I didn't like how it responded here. Could we add some special instructions? And then I would keep working with it. That's my workflow is usually not to one-shot a mode. And I go back and forth, and then as I use it repeatedly for that repeated task, I'll observe where it steps out of line and utilize the mode writer. I will @mention the directory, like um,
Mm.
the specific directory for the mode that we've created. In this case, if we wanted to modify this one, and I would say, okay, in this workflow, I'm experiencing this behavior. Could you, without making any changes, could you help me understand why this might be happening? And then it will bring it up. It'll highlight the point, and I can scroll through the individual files and figure out. It'll point to me. Oh, okay, because of this specific thing, it's causing this behavior, and that's how I work on. It's sort of like a very much a pair programming mode creation. It is not just set and forget. The vibe code portion of it gets it done, gets the base built pretty quick. So in this case, I found it didn't give me enough options. It didn't ask me enough questions. Maybe I fed it enough information about what I was asking. I'm not sure. But anyways, I
So
threw it in and it tried to switch into a mode right away.
yeah, so this is the problem that I keep running into with GPT-5, and again, like you said, it might just be not prompting it correctly. Is that this is a good thing for some things, and it might just be we can't use this model in this way, and I'm also okay to accept that. But I do think like there is something really cool about having a model that I can prompt to like just take your time, walk me through everything, give me some ideas so I can formulate how I want the system to be built in my head. And I've never been able to accomplish that with GPT-5
I
completely.
have
And I'm
I
sure.
have a mode for writing issues that never tries to switch modes. It always does what its workflow, and then it goes, okay, do you want to make any changes? Do you want this? It gives me something to think about and then says, or do you want to submit it now? And every time
With,
previously I had issues where when I would then not say don't submit it, if I would just say, well, I don't like this, then what would happen is it would make that change and then it would submit it, assuming that because I didn't say no, that I was saying yes, submit it, but just make these changes. And now I can just keep typing, change this, look at this differently, over and over and over. And I cracked this because I was trying to come up with a mode that would work well with Roo Code Cloud, where I didn't have to um, be overly verbose because I don't, typing on a small screen to give long instructions just seems like a lot of work, especially when
yeah,
I'm,
that's awesome.
doing a walking the dog kind of activity.
And you're doing that with GPT-5, like
Yes.
that mode. Very cool.
Yes. Okay. Ready to continue. I don't know. I don't want to read all this. I'll just say yes, do that thing. Okay. We got 10 minutes to go. Do we have any questions that have come about from our audience? Somebody said, if I had 3 different repo folders to a VS Code workspace, I found Roo Code can only change the code in the first folder. How can I make Roo change all the folders? So right now, Roo Code does not handle the multi-repo workspace very well. That being said, yesterday I actually consolidated some issues, and we have one of our contributors who's looking at a way that we can implement support without breaking other things. It's not as easy as we had hoped because you have indexing, you have various workspaces have different various repos have different get ignores. They have different just if you go add a bunch that already have their own Git information into one workspace, and there's an overlap in when you open them individually versus when you open them all together, and there can be some conflicts from how Roo Code handles that. So we need to do that gracefully so that you can access those workspaces individually, but also or those repos individually, while also still being able to access them as one. So yeah, we are working at that. Great question. Thank you.
I feel like we already have. I'm not entirely sure. We already have something that helps Roo find the right, at least see the right workspace. If I'm not mistaken, if you open a file from that, you have 3 workspaces and you want Roo to pay attention to the second one. If you open a file, Roo might be able to focus on that second workspace, but I'm not entirely sure if that's merged or not at the moment.
The
But it's
process
definitely
of getting
something
things merged.
yeah, it's definitely something we've been looking into, getting multiple workspaces working in Roo.
Matt, I know that you've been experiencing working with this as we inch closer to our cloud, as we improve the functionality of our cloud solutions. Can you tell us what your take is on this? What have you experienced? What difficulties, mountains?
Yeah, and I've been feeling the same thing as everybody else. Like, I think when you work in real projects, you have a front end and a back end and other things, and it's really painful right now to get the agent to work on both of them in a coherent way. And there's some hacks to do it, but I think it's something that we have to solve as we, get more into, the sorts of situations where you have multiple repositories. So I'm
So
excited
we're
to do
just
that.
going to make everybody do a mono repo.
And monorepo helps. Don't get me wrong,
It
but
does, yeah.
yeah. So maybe this problem will solve itself. I don't know. I think a lot of things are going to people are going to build for agents first going forward, just given how much code they write. But unfortunately, mono repos have been a little bit out of style the last few years. So if you're in that situation, it's challenging.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Cool. Okay, so onto the screen here, we have really, it's just GPT-5 minimum here. I gave it minimum, not medium. It's just working up a storm with the plan that we gave it. I enabled the auto questions under auto approve. I enabled it so my questions would auto get approved after 1 second. And then I click this little button here. So that way I don't have to keep answering questions because this mode seems to be, there's forks in the road where things need to be solved. I'm just going to leave it up to AI to handle. Ooh, okay. So, any new things coming down the pipeline here in Roo Code? Can you tell us a little bit about Matt? We're looking at some tweaks to our Roo Code Cloud Pro plan. I think something about notifications coming down the pipeline. This is one I'm putting you on the spot here on purpose because I'm the one who's going to use these notifications the most. At least I think so. Can you tell me a little bit about these? Where we at?
Yeah, so we launched the remote control feature last week. And it's been great. I've been using it a lot. Nice to untether from my computer a little bit. But it kind of defeats the purpose if you're just staring at your phone the whole time you're away from the computer. Despite what I do maybe a little bit too much of that. But the thing that I really want is to know when one of my long running tasks actually needs my attention. And we have a way to do that on our phones. It's through push notifications. So we're working on adding a feature that'll let you configure push notifications to know if one of your tasks needs attention from you while you're away from your phone or while you're away from your computer. So really excited about this. Just saw a demo this morning that it feels close. I hopefully we can get that out soon.
I'm
Very
stoked
good.
for it. And sorry to leak. I mean, people got to give people a reason to watch the podcast to the end. So that
Yeah,
is a little. Go ahead.
It's definitely something that I've been feeling that it's missing from the the cloud stuff. The same reason. Like I'm staring at my phone and then I have to do something else and then I forget that the task is running and then I come back like an hour later and having just a way to quickly hop in, select an option or approve a command that it's not auto approved is definitely huge for me as well. Just knowing that the task is doing stuff and it needs your input or is finished and you can take a look, run it. Yeah, it's just great for sure.
Yeah. Well, let's see what we got going here. Nothing. Looks like our architect mode did not solve the problem, guys. So I'm not afraid to show a bit of a duff here on the office hours. But what I would do in this scenario is I would probably start from scratch and I would look at how I made that mode, tweak that mode, and there's a lot of back and forth. I think people love the idea of a magic solution where they just have to hit play and everything's done. Short videos, it looks really cool when we do things like that. Like, oh, look, we were able to do it. But that's just not the reality. This becomes a reality of us working with how to get AI to do what we want it to do. And we have higher output, but by no means is Roo Code something where download Roo Code and press a button and it'll solve your problems. It doesn't solve all your problems, but it sure as heck is a lot easier than jumping in back and forth between a chat bot and copy and pasting and all this kind of thing. And the automated workflows really allow me personally to work on multiple things. Whereas previous to using Roo Code, I was doing very much one at a time. So, yeah. Not afraid to show when it doesn't work. I don't know what happened, but it's probably a bunch of slop, to be honest. Thank you very much, everybody. I guess this is the end of office hours for Wednesday, September 17th. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Tibbo and Adam, Dan, and Matt. Have a good rest of your week.
Appreciate you guys. Till next time. See ya.